Welcome to Grateful Gwen's Goodreads channel, where we are currently reading The Art of Being, Recapturing the Self by Catherine Laroze. Synchronized movement. Our minds are always racing. We're constantly on the run. Faster, always faster. We're moving, traveling, and feeling as though we live 1,000 lives in one lifetime, melting into the movement of the world, and thus becoming part of a larger planetary motion. Always thinking bigger, higher, farther, but for all this mastery of time and space, have we mastered ourselves? Introduction. The art of doing nothing, of simply being, that sounds a bit like a provocation, and yet it's appealing, isn't it? It's as if the phrase doing nothing reminds us of something ancient within us, a manner of existing, of thinking, of behaving that has been long forgotten, but that we should call up from the depths so that it seems familiar again. Recall some relaxing moments from your past, a whole morning ahead of you, a beach stretching as far as the eye can see, trembling leaves in the autumn breeze, water sparkling beneath your feet. Imagine the feeling of days without end, of vacations that blend with everyday existence, of growth and a flowering of your soul, of a strong sense of freedom. As positive and happy as these images are, they are also fleeting and often detached from everyday awareness. These thoughts seem to go against the grain of life. In fact, they are directly opposed to our everyday rhythm. By thinking and experiencing them, we must temporarily renounce values to which we otherwise strictly adhere: efficiency, speed, action. Maybe you're saying, isn't it then unthinkable to dream of doing nothing if I want to remain sensible? Don't be so sure. Isn't it just a question of changing your point of view? Doing nothing, that need not mean literally resigning yourself not to act or not to do something. It might mean instead choosing another direction, committing yourself to a new path, one that is not so well marked. You say it's not easy? Of course not. It's not easy to change everything about the way you act just by saying that you'd like to. It's not easy, and it's not even desirable for it to be that easy. The challenge is to make use of a new manner of being, to integrate the art of doing nothing into your practical life without renouncing everything that you fought for, everything that you live for, everything that despite all continues to motivate you. On the other hand, we have a lot to learn about doing nothing, a lot to learn about ourselves. In our single-minded quest for efficiency, we may find we barely know ourselves anymore. We have a lot to learn about our links with existence, about priorities, commitments, duties that we owe ourselves. Learning to question certain habits, opening ourselves to laziness, boredom, and idleness, these are some ways we can attain the mindset of doing nothing as an art. We should envision the personal quest to attain this mindset as a privileged space where silence, tranquility, and listening are open doors leading to the recapture of our own selves. Catherine Laroze. Drifting off. Imagine yourself stretched out on a lounge chair under the shade of a tree, hands resting on a book. You let yourself go, eyes closed, while the scent of gardenias wafts past in soft waves. Your thoughts are vague and dreamy, a mixture of children's voices, birds' songs, and the mildness of the perfumed air. Suddenly a voice asks, "What are you doing?" "Nothing." "Nothing?" "Nothing. I'm doing nothing." The situation is mundane. So is the question. We've all been asked it 100 times, and we've asked the question of others as well. So why, at this exact moment, does it sound so bizarre? It's because today, in fact, you are committed to doing nothing. And the question, instead of playing its normal role in routine conversation, falls flat. You are doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. Therefore, you're forced to cut the conversation short. You have nothing to say. Meanwhile, the questioner means no harm. He's showing interest in you, maybe even concern. It could be the proof of love, tenderness, friendship, but today all this question does is annoy you. It's almost as if you have to justify yourself to him. Of course, you could say in a joking manner, "Yeah, I'm doing nothing today. I'm pampering myself, reveling in the moment. I'm just wallowing here and not going to do anything all day. So do whatever you want. I'm just going to dream." But you could never say all that in seriousness. Instead, to reassure yourself that you have the right to relax, you mentally go over all that you've accomplished since this morning to see if, according to some internal balance, you can authorize yourself to take a break. I finished the work I had to do, the kids ate lunch, the laundry's hung out to dry, I made that phone call. You realize that though it may seem friendly, the question is intrusive, and perhaps the questioner is too. You feel yourself close up like an oyster. Your sense of relaxation evaporates, and you suddenly feel obligated to defend yourself. Are you being oversensitive? Is this a passing emotion? Not at all. What you can learn from this relatively insignificant situation is that it is not very commonplace to do nothing. That is, to make time for yourself, to dream, to think, to listen to the stirrings of your soul. Also, you learn that it is difficult for others to accept that this is something natural and normal, an inner necessity. The concepts of retreat, withdrawal, distance, of doing nothing, all pose a fundamental problem today. Unless you are a hermit living in complete solitude, the fact of living as part of society, however limited this society may be, forces you to function in an active mode. We are so integrated in society's interdependent network that it is almost impossible to extract ourselves from it so that we may live for ourselves. The question, what are you doing, or what do you do? Given that the person asking it is neither our boss nor our school principal, is in reality a complex sociological probe, full of insinuations about priorities and demands. These questions are instruments, albeit often used subconsciously, of a school of thought that hates to see us escape. Like a slap, it forces us back to our ranks, implicitly forcing us to redefine ourselves and to put ourselves back in the context of social relations. The air no longer seems as light, it loses its perfume, the cries of the children become irritating, you fall, despite yourself, back into the daily rhythm that never lets you escape. Apathy settles in. You realize that so much energy, so much willpower, so much determination to savor each instant of experience are needed just to give you, each day, a reason to go on. It takes so little to turn off the music of the world, for a laugh to die in your throat, for a tender moment to evaporate. The tenderness, the attentiveness, the willingness to take the necessary time that we can develop within ourselves can fall prey to the slightest brusque movement, to the slightest anxious thought. The smallest distraction can threaten our very sense of existence. We have learned to work, think for, and abide by the rules of the society in which we live, but we have not learned to think or dream for ourselves. We no longer know what it means to take our time, let our spirits unfold, let our imaginations run wild. It has become vital, not just for ourselves, but for everyone's sake, to oppose this blind mechanical pressure with an intimate force, a subjective power, a ray of warmth. It has become imperative that we resist. Draw from yourself all the hidden energy and strength you possess, and release all that is original, unique, weird, fantastic. You must throw all this in the world's face. You must rise up against and oppose the blind and inescapable pressure of society with a living force, a deep and beautiful laugh. Why? So that the expansion of thought, imagination, and subjectivity may triumph. So that all our voices, however anonymous and distant, can be heard. So that all the nuances and differences of an individual will stand out in a world that threatens to become intrusive. All the great movements and social revolutions and metamorphoses begin with intimate revolutions. You can start right here on your lounge chair. Stretch yourself out again, cover yourself with the blanket that slipped to the floor. You can close this book if you want and contemplate the foliage that sparkles against the light. You can listen to the little voice that approaches you telling you about the sandcastle she made. You can doze off. You can do all this totally, completely, but with happiness. Enjoy doing nothing for a few moments today. And the next section in this book, The Art of Being, Recapturing the Self, is called What Do You Do? And we will save that one for the next time. Until next time, take care. And just be, just enjoy being.